blessed. Wake up thanking God, he showed me how to reinvest. All this stress, I was giving game to you peons from the gate. Use my own self as examples. I live raw and never hate.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of TNC Reacts. So, we're talking about Yada Awakening. Now, this particular situation has made me call multiple women to try to understand how best to deal with this particular situation. Because we had the situation with Derrick Jaxn, and I made videos talking about him because I'm like, yeah, he's a panderer, he's a scumbag, he's all of these things. But with Yada Awakening, it was very unique because he talked about money. And what I realized within the culture is that money and materialism is such a big factor in how we interact with each other today. So, when I was talking to different women, I was like this. How is it that women have this divinity, they have this female understanding at how men are cheating, men ain't ish, but for some reason, when it comes to these YouTubers, social media individuals, that they can't figure out that these guys are pandering and they're not really about what they do. And through the multitude of women I talked to, it was very simple. They choose to ignore it. And I was like, dang. So they actively go after what makes them feel good versus the truth. Because how many times with Derrick Jaxn, how many times with all of these panderers do we tell these women, hey, this guy is not being legit in his information. He's lying. He's pushing a narrative that doesn't actually fix what's happening in the community. It doesn't actually help us grow in unity. It's just helping you pay them to make more money because it makes you feel good. And you couldn't figure it out. No one can figure it out. Nobody can figure it out. But then when stuff goes awry, it's like, oh, you know what? He's a terrible person. He's this, he's that. And then it's already too late because you've already given millions of dollars and men had already told you that these guys are horrible people, but no one wanted to listen. So how does it form into female desertion? What is it? Finally found the word. Female intuition. Why doesn't female intuition figure out that these panderers are liars? But it always breaks down to the original thing, is that guys that aren't ish don't regulate to their perception as long as they tell them, you're not wrong, everything you're doing is great, everything that you do is right, there is nothing about you that's wrong. It helps them. It helps them grow. Only in the sense of false ideology. Because let's think about it. This woman posts a video with an eye that's swollen underneath, and she's talking about how bad the guy is. And how many women actually felt bad about it? I've had conversations with people that said, I already knew he wasn't good because he talked too much. And I was like, yikes. So talking too much is a red flag. But no, it went deeper. No, it's controlling. The way he's presenting things comes off controlling. Excuse me. But it makes sense. Because if somebody can tell you why you fail as a man time and time again, that women are infallible, excuse me, regardless of any situation, that lets you know what they're trying to do. Do you know there are only certain metrics where you can make money on a full scale where you're making millions of dollars a year is by pandering to women, pandering to people who hate your culture, i.e. Brandon Tatum. All you got to do is just talk down on black people. You can make a good amount of money. You talk down on black men to women, especially black women, you can make a multitude of money. Or just disrespect everything about society as a whole, you're going to make money. But if you stand in the middle and justify left and right, come to a middle ground and just speak facts to try to help people grow, it's finito. Why? Because it's not about the truth. It's about what makes people feel good. And that's the sad thing about society. Society is only about making me feel good. And that's why these panderers can keep growing and making money. I ain't gonna lie. When Derrick Jackson popped up, some of the stuff he dropped, I was with it. Because a broken clock can be right 2 times a day. But he was speaking real facts on certain things. I respect it. Officer Brandon Tatum. I'm going to talk about him on another video. But certain things he said, I can rock with it. But it was something about Yada awakening. I was like, he don't respect nothing. He is just pandering. There is no real middle ground. Everything he's saying is just trying to get the black dollar away and ruin the ideologies of the culture and push a narrative that makes people delusional. Because everybody doesn't have $300,000 to give away. No one has $50,000 to give away. That's why they only talk about 2% of the people have all the money. So if it's only 2%, how is it that you're going to get all of this money to you and everybody else, or you and this person in this relationship? Wealth is typically built off of buying housing, buying land, investing, and, you know, when you pass away, you have money set aside to go to the people that you've raised up. You know what I mean? So this mass amount of money that's always coming in is not for everybody. That's why everybody works so hard to get it. It's not just automatically given to you unless you pander to a certain group to reel it in. And we have to start being realistic with it. And we have to start understanding that certain aspects of intuition don't actually exist. We have to start sitting back, using logic and not feeling to understand where people are really coming from. Is this a hustle or is this legit? And stop looking at the game from a 6 or 9. And what I mean by that is you're standing on the side and it looks like a 6. The other person standing on the other side says it's a 9. Step to the side together and figure out why'd you see it as a 6 or why you see it as a 9. And until you do that, you'll never grow. You'll be stuck in the same box trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong and just preaching your side and telling the other side they're wrong without ever growing from learning. There's people I listen to, they say, listen to all, follow none. Shout out to Manosphere Highlights Daily. Because we should do that as people. We should listen to everybody. And then make our own decisions on who we follow. Not based off of feelings, but based off of logic. So, let me know what you think down in the comments sections. And be on the lookout for more videos. All right, everybody? Peace.